I made this video about the recent drop in house prices at the beginning of 2023, but during the research that I was making for that video, I found out something rather interesting that I wanted to share in this video with you on why you don't want to buy a house at the beginning of 2023, even if you could. People are getting so discouraged with the house prices recently that they are actually moving to countries like Arizona, Nevada, Texas or Florida. And the reason for that is just to save some money. Today we're going to explain the concept of the home spiral, and if you want to know what that is, then make sure to watch this video till the end. For the first time in so many years, the house market is almost cut in half. The Market Insider data shows that the US housing market is crashing and soaring at the same time. It all depends on what country you're living, and honestly this is the very first time that something like this is happening. Because usually when the prices go down, they go down for the entire country, and when they go up, same happens almost everywhere. Home prices have stopped growing after almost a decade. California just passed a new tax law imposing a 4% tax on home sales above $5 million, and there is a new proposal around the corner that can just cost you so much money. So that's why we're going to take a look on what's going on recently, which housing markets are going down, and why you should not buy a house at the beginning of 2023 under these conditions. And generally speaking, what you need to do in order to save some money. Also, before we start, if you appreciate the effort that goes into creating videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button because it means the world to me. With that being said, let's jump straight into the video. It is true that the housing market is going down, and matter of fact, prices are lower than they were in June of 2022 by 5%. The interesting thing about this whole situation is that the low prices are not caused by high interest rate, but rather due to high inventory. The situation is quite simple. Even though there are fewer sellers listing their houses, the competition is 60% higher than it was 1 year ago due to already high inventory. That is because old listings are not selling. So let me try to explain it like this. If 10 new houses or listings are listed in 1 month and all of them are sold, then the inventory would basically stay the same and the house price would be kind of neutral. But if 10 new listings are listed and only 5 of those are sold, then the inventory would increase for the next month, forcing some of the sellers to cut the price. Research shows that the housing market is almost cut in half, with home prices on the West Coast dropping by 10%, while homes in the East saw a 10% gain. Details show that from January 2022 to January 2023, home prices dropped by 7.5% in Seattle and 10.3% in San Francisco. In the same time, there was a 12% increase in Miami and 9.3% increase in Orlando. Now, next important thing is that Los Angeles residents will be subject to a 4% tax on selling homes that are more than $5 million in value, and this is thought to destroy the high-end housing market, with more people to leave the country. Now, the idea is that most of the states have a transfer tax, which in most of the cases is paid by the seller in the moment they sell a property. Now, this tax was around 0.45% until ULA started this project to increase the tax in order to provide some resources to tenants at risk of homelessness. The long effects of this are expected to be devastating. Now, for your information, the rates of homelessness are quite high in California, and California has spent almost $10 billion between 2018 and 2021 to address this problem. However, the number of those that were living on the streets continued to rise. This tax is expected to raise something like $672 million to address the homelessness issue, and California is not the only country that will impose such taxes, being followed by countries like San Francisco, San Jose and others. In case you're thinking that this thing should not worry you because you don't intend on making a transaction above $5 million, then you must know that California's top 1% pays pretty much half of the state income tax. And personal income tax is one of the California's biggest sources of revenue, so if only a few of those people think of moving out and leaving California as a place to live, then it will surely impact the whole state's budget. And for the people that think that this will only affect the sellers, then let me try to put it into perspective. A 5% tax for all the builders and investors might mean half of their profit. So as a result, the business might shrink and there will be less investments. There is something else I need to explain about this taxation system. If the total cost of the transaction is 5 million minus $1, then there will be no tax. But if the total cost of the house is 5 million plus $1, there will be a 5% tax, or around $250,000, which makes no sense at all. This would be equal to saying that if you make more than $11,000 per year, then you would be taxed 12% for all that revenue and not for the amount that exceeds 11,000. A no tax system works like that. Usually it's only the tax above that amount that applies. California should prioritize spending money towards mental health issues and addiction, and this will help reduce the number of people that go homeless. During the research that I was making for the first video that I uploaded about buying a house in 2023, I came across this video from Matt Brighton, and there was a very particular moment on his video that attracted my attention. David here, who apparently is a first-time buyer, is saying that they bought a house for $200,000 with an interest rate of 5% and $1,000 a month for the mortgage. They apparently have it fixed for 3 years and been living with in-laws to save some money, which is a good thing. He says that they needed to buy, and even if it loses value over time, it doesn't matter a lot because they are planning on staying on it for more than 10 years. Honestly, this goes hand in hand with one of the principles of buying the house that I actually explained on the video that I made. The principle is quite simple. You can't really use real estate to make a quick profit, specifically in 2023, and even though I've already said and explained this one in the first video I created, I felt like I wasn't stressing this enough, so I felt the need to say it again. Unless you intend to keep a house for a minimum of 5 to 12 years, generally speaking, you cannot make a quick profit with real estate. This whole housing situation can be very well explained in the moment that you make a simple search on YouTube. If I go on YouTube and search for buying a home right now, I don't usually get guides on how to buy a home in 2023, even though that is exactly what I search for. I rather get things that say you should not buy a home in 2023, why sellers are panicking, and why landlords are having some difficulties in 2023. Everyone is talking about a possible house crisis and mistakes to avoid when buying your first home. There are people like Jeb Smith and Graham Stephan, which mostly cover topics like this, that are saying that this is probably not the best time to buy a house. I'm putting it in simple terms, but they are very frankly saying don't buy, as you can see from the thumbnail in here or from Graham Stephan's title in here. Even from the video that I mentioned a little bit earlier from Matt Brighton, you are going to see that people are quite pessimistic even in the comment section. So Thomas in here is saying that it's going to drop even more than you are actually suggesting, so he is referring to Matt in this case. There's a huge dollar shortage globally, and houses dropping in just 10% would be a dream. Global depression incoming, this is what Thomas is saying, and there are even other people like Gary saying that this is just the beginning. Banks won't stop pricing the interest rates. Now is the best time to do it, so they are talking about probably buying a house. I know what you might be thinking right now. So if the housing market is going down, then it might be a great time to buy a house. And about this topic, a couple of days back, I have uploaded this video where I go through some pillars of buying real estate in 2023 and 6 common mistakes to avoid when buying one. For the ones that made it till the end of the video, hope to see you there.